Captain Marcus Reed yawned as he stared at the monitors in the small control room of Outpost Sigma-7. The remote station sat at the edge of human space, so far from Earth that it took messages 3 days to reach Alliance headquarters. Nothing exciting ever happened here. That was both good and bad. Good because boring meant safe. Bad because boring also meant endless, mind-numbing shifts watching empty space. Another thrilling day protecting humanity from the vast nothingness, he muttered, sipping his cold coffee. Officer Ben Miller laughed from his station. "Cheer up, Captain. At least we're not stuck on one of those mining colonies. I heard on Proxima 4. They work 12-hour shifts in the dark." Reed nodded, though he wasn't really listening. After 15 years of military service, he had hoped for a better assignment than babysitting a glorified space lighthouse. But his last mission had gone badly, and the higher-ups decided he needed quiet time to reflect on proper protocol. So here he was, reflecting on the emptiness of deep space. The doors slid open, and Officer Lisa Torres walked in with a tablet in her hand. Unlike Reed, Torres actually enjoyed being stationed at the edge of nowhere. She claimed the peace helped her think. "Captain, I found something interesting in the old archives," she said, excitement clear in her voice. Reed turned his chair. Another of Torres's history projects. "Great. What is it this time? Another lost mining ship?" "No, sir. I was reading about the UTS Nemesis." Reed couldn't help rolling his eyes. The Nemesis. Every new recruit heard those ghost stories. "Torres, the Nemesis is a myth. A boogeyman story to scare first-year cadets." "But, sir, I found official records. It was real. The largest battleship ever built by humans. It disappeared 187 years ago during a battle with the Ardani Empire." Miller perked up at his console. "My grandfather told me stories about the Nemesis. Said it had weapons that could tear planets apart." "All spaceships have weapons, Miller," Reed said, turning back to his monitors. "And they all break down eventually. The Nemesis probably hit an asteroid or had an engine failure. Nothing mystical about it." Torres persisted. "But, sir, the records show it vanished during a test of a new, faster-than-light drive. Over 600 crew members were lost. And the weird thing is, the incident is heavily redacted. Why hide details about a simple accident?" Reed was about to answer when an alarm blared. The main screen flashed red. Miller's fingers flew across his controls. "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up something." "Asteroid? Merchant ship?" Reed asked, suddenly alert. "No, sir. I don't know what it is. The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database." Reed moved to Miller's station, frowning at the readings. A massive object was moving toward Alliance space at impossible speed. Too big for a standard warship, too fast for a cargo vessel. "How far?" Reed asked. "About 2 light days away, but at its current speed, it could reach us in under a week." Torres looked over their shoulders. "Sir, this can't be a coincidence. I was just reading about." "Don't start, Torres. I don't need ghost stories right now." Reed straightened up. "Send an alert to Alliance Command. And run a diagnostic on the sensors. They could be malfunctioning." Miller nodded and began typing. Suddenly, his hand stopped. "Captain, it's changing course. It's heading directly toward us." The room fell silent. Even Reed felt a chill run down his spine. Whatever this object was, it had detected them and adjusted course accordingly. That meant intelligence. Purpose. "Full sensor sweep. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with," Reed ordered, his voice steady despite the growing unease in his stomach. Before Miller could respond, the communication system crackled to life. Static filled the room, broken by fragments of words too distorted to understand. "What's that? Are we receiving a transmission?" Reed demanded. Torres moved to the communication station. "It's coming on all frequencies, sir. Let me try to clean it up." As she worked, the static slowly cleared. A deep, mechanical voice emerged from the speakers. debt of blood shall be paid in full. The message repeated over and over. Reed felt the hairs on his arms stand up. "Sir," Miller called, his voice shaking slightly. "I'm getting reports from outposts Ta-3 and Omega-5. They're receiving the same message." Reed's mind raced. 3 outposts spread across different star systems, all receiving the same transmission. Whatever this was, it wasn't a glitch. "Contact Alliance Command. Priority Level 1, he ordered. "And get me Admiral Donovan directly." As Torres tried to establish a connection with headquarters, another alarm sounded. Miller's face paled as he checked his monitor. "Sir, we're picking up massive energy surges from the Ardani border. Their military ships are moving. All of them." Reed stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Dozens of Ardani warships, usually scattered across their territory, were gathering into formation. After years of tense but stable peace, the alien empire was suddenly mobilizing for war. "Why now? What triggered this?" Reed muttered. Torres looked up from her station, face grim. "Sir, I've got Admiral Donovan." The main screen flickered to life, showing the stern face of Admiral James Donovan, head of Alliance Military Operations. "Captain Reed, your message said urgent. This better be important," Donovan said, irritation clear in his voice. "Sir, we've detected an unknown object approaching Alliance space at unprecedented speed. Simultaneously, we're receiving a strange message across multiple systems, and the Ardani fleet is mobilizing. I believe these events may be connected." Donovan's expression changed from annoyed to concerned. "What message?" Reed nodded to Torres, who played the recording. "The debt of blood shall be paid in full." Donovan's face went pale. For a moment, he seemed unable to speak. "Sir," Reed prompted, "do you recognize this message?" "Captain," Donovan said finally, his voice unnaturally calm, "I'm sending Dr. Eliza Frost to your outpost. Until she arrives, you are to monitor the object but take no action. Do not attempt communication. Do not inform any other stations about what you found." "But sir, if this is a potential threat." "That's an order, Captain," Donovan snapped. Some secrets were buried for a reason. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving Reed staring at a blank screen. "Sir," Miller said quietly, "the object has accelerated. New estimated arrival time, 36 hours. Reed looked at his 2 officers, then at the data flowing across the screens. Something was coming. Something that frightened Admiral Donovan and alarmed the entire Ardani Empire. "Torres," he said finally, "tell me everything you found about the Nemesis. Every detail, no matter how small." As Torres began to speak, Reed couldn't shake the feeling that the myth was about to become very, very real. Dr. Eliza Frost arrived at Outpost Sigma-7 exactly 16 hours after Admiral Donovan's call. She stepped off the small transport ship with nothing but a worn leather bag and a stern expression. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her eyes darted quickly around the docking bay, taking in every detail. Captain Reed met her at the airlock. "Dr. Frost, welcome to Sigma-7. I'm Captain Marcus Reed." She nodded curtly. "Where is it?" No introduction, no small talk. Reed raised an eyebrow, but led her toward the control room. "The object is now 20 hours away at current speed. We've been monitoring it closely, but following orders not to make contact." Dr. Frost walked briskly beside him. "Have you told your crew anything?" "Only what they need to know. That something big is coming, and we're waiting for instructions." She seemed satisfied with this answer as they entered the control room. Officers Miller and Torres stood at attention when they saw the visitor. "Show me the readings," Dr. Frost said, moving directly to the main console. Torres pulled up the latest scans. The mysterious object was now close enough to show a rough shape on their screens, massive and distinctly artificial. The energy signature pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Dr. Frost stared at the screen, her face unreadable. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out an old physical data chip, technology that hadn't been used in at least a century. "I need to plug this into your system," she said. Reed hesitated. "Ma'am, external data sources are against protocol." "Captain," she cut him off, "I have direct authorization from Admiral Donovan. This chip contains classified historical data that might confirm what we're dealing with." Reed nodded reluctantly. Torres inserted the chip into an adapter, and ancient files appeared on the screen. Technical specifications for a ship so massive it dwarfed anything in the current Alliance fleet. Weapon systems that seemed impossible even by today's standards. And a name, UTS Nemesis. The Nemesis was real, Dr. Frost said quietly. "I've spent my entire career studying what little information wasn't classified. It was the peak of human military engineering, built during the darkest days of the Human-Ardani War." The room was silent as she continued. "The official story is that it disappeared during a test of experimental faster-than-light technology. But that was a lie." She pulled up another file, a video recording dated 187 years earlier. The quality was poor, but they could make out a massive ship engaging with several smaller vessels. Flashes of weapons fire lit up the darkness of space. "This is the last known footage of the Nemesis," Dr. Frost explained. "It wasn't testing a new drive system. It was fighting a losing battle against an Ardani ambush." Reed leaned closer to the screen. "If that's true, then why lie about it? Losing ships in battle was common during the war." Dr. Frost's face hardened. "Because the Nemesis didn't lose. Watch." The recording continued. The massive human battleship seemed to be taking heavy damage. But then something strange happened. A glow began to build around its central section. The Nemesis had a prototype weapon system called Justice, an artificial intelligence designed specifically for combat. Dr. Frost explained. It could analyze enemy tactics and adapt in real time. On the screen, the glow intensified. The Ardeni ships began to retreat, but it was too late. A pulse of energy erupted from the Nemesis, engulfing everything nearby. Then, in a flash that whited out the recording, the massive ship disappeared. After this incident, the peace treaty with the Ardeni was signed within weeks. Dr. Frost said. A war that had raged for decades suddenly ended. Torres spoke up. "You're saying the Ardani surrendered because of what the Nemesis did?" Dr. Frost shook her head. "No. I'm saying they demanded the destruction of the Nemesis as a condition for peace, and our leaders agreed." The revelation hung heavy in the air. Reed tried to process what he was hearing. "You're telling me Alliance Command sacrificed their most powerful ship to secure peace?" "Worse," Dr. Frost said, her voice dropping lower. "They sacrificed the ship and its entire crew. I found evidence buried in classified files that the test was a sham. The crew believed they were testing a new FTL drive, but they were actually being sent into a space-time anomaly that should have destroyed the ship completely." Miller looked horrified. That's murder." Dr. Frost nodded grimly. 642 lives traded for peace. A new alarm sounded. Torres jumped to her station. "Captain, the object has increased speed again. New arrival time. 3 hours." Reed turned to Dr. Frost. "If what you're saying is true, then this can't be the Nemesis. It would have been destroyed nearly 2 centuries ago." "Unless it wasn't," Dr. Frost said. "The space-time anomaly might have had unexpected effects. Time dilation, spatial displacement." "Sir," Miller called out, "we're receiving a direct transmission from the object. Video signal." Reed hesitated only briefly. "Put it on screen." The main display flickered, then showed the bridge of a ship. The design was old, matching the historical images Dr. Frost had shown them. In the center stood a man in a captain's uniform that hadn't been used in generations. His face was middle-aged, with a neatly trimmed beard and eyes that seemed to hold both wisdom and anger. "This is Captain Thomas Gray of the United Terran ship Nemesis, broadcasting to all Alliance frequencies. We have returned. Reed felt his mouth go dry. The captain on screen should have been long dead. For the crew of the Nemesis, Gray continued, only 7 months have passed since we were betrayed by our own government and sent to die. The experimental drive did not destroy us as intended. Instead, it trapped us in a temporal pocket where time moved differently. Gray's face hardened. During our isolation, we discovered the truth. Justice, our AI combat system, evolved beyond its original programming. It accessed sealed records and found evidence of the conspiracy against us. The captain moved aside, and the camera showed a glowing blue interface behind him, pulsing with the same rhythm they had detected in the ship's energy signature. The Ardani demanded our destruction because they feared justice. They knew what it could become, what it has become. The blue glow seemed to intensify as Gray continued. We also learned why the Ardani were so desperate for peace. Their Bloodforged technology, the secret weapon they were developing, couldn't be completed while fighting a war on multiple fronts. They needed time and resources. Gray's eyes burned with controlled fury. Do you know what Bloodforged technology is? It's weapons created from human prisoners of war. Thousands of captured Alliance citizens, their bodies and minds harvested and processed into living weapons. Reed turned to Dr. Frost, who had gone pale. Is this possible? He whispered. She nodded slowly. There were rumors, disappearances on border colonies, but nothing concrete. On screen, Captain Gray straightened his uniform. The Nemesis is returning to reclaim justice for the betrayed. For our crew, for every human sacrificed to the Bloodforge, the debt of blood shall be paid in full. The transmission cut off, leaving the control room in stunned silence. Officer Torres was the first to speak. Captain, what do we do? Before Reed could answer, another alarm blared. Miller checked his display and looked up with fear in his eyes. Sir, the Ardani fleet has crossed the border. They're entering Alliance space. All stations, battle alert. This is not a drill, Captain Reed's voice echoed through Outpost Sigma 7. His hands moved quickly across the command console, bringing defensive systems online. Sir, Admiral Donovan is calling, Torres said, her voice tense. Reed nodded, and Donovan's face appeared on screen. The Admiral looked like he hadn't slept in days. Captain Reed, you are to destroy the approaching vessel immediately, Donovan ordered without greeting. Reed blinked in surprise. Sir, our weapons aren't nearly powerful enough to. Then delay it. A battle group is on its way to your position. Do whatever you must, but that ship cannot be allowed to spread its message. Dr. Frost stepped forward. Admiral, I've seen the historical records. If that really is the Nemesis, we need to hear what they have to say. Donovan's face hardened. Dr. Frost, you've overstepped your authority. I brought you in to confirm the identity of the ship, not to make policy decisions. Is it true? Reed asked suddenly. Did Alliance Command really sacrifice the Nemesis and its crew to secure peace with the Ardani? A long silence followed. When Donovan finally spoke, his voice was cold. Some decisions are made for the greater good, Captain. 600 lives in exchange for ending a war that was killing millions. History doesn't remember the difficult choices, only the outcomes. And the Bloodforged technology. Dr. Frost pressed. Is that true as well? Donovan's jaw tightened. That information is classified beyond your clearance level. Follow your orders, Captain Reed. Donovan out. The screen went black. Reed stood in silence, weighing his options. Around him, his small crew waited for direction. Sir, Miller prompted, the Ardani fleet will reach our position in 6 hours. The Nemesis will be here in less than 1. Reed made his decision. Hail the Nemesis. If we're going to face this, I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Torres worked at her console. Channel open, sir. UTS Nemesis, this is Captain Marcus Reed of Outpost Sigma 7. We're receiving you. Request to speak with Captain Gray. The response came almost immediately. Captain Gray's face appeared on screen, looking much the same as in their earlier transmission. Captain Reed, I'm glad someone in the Alliance still values dialogue over blind obedience. Reed stood straight, meeting Gray's gaze. Your transmission has raised serious questions. Alliance Command has ordered us to prevent your advance, but before I decide how to respond to those orders, I need to understand your intentions. Gray nodded. Fair enough. Our primary goal is truth. The Alliance citizens deserve to know what their government did, both in betraying us and in hiding the Ardani atrocities for nearly 2 centuries. And after the truth is known, Reed asked, what then? Justice, Gray replied simply. For our crew. For the thousands of humans who disappeared from border colonies and ended up in Ardani laboratories. Dr. Frost moved beside Reed. Captain Gray, I'm Dr. Eliza Frost. I studied the Nemesis incident my entire career. How did your ship survive? The temporal physics should have torn you apart. A slight smile crossed Gray's face. That would be Justice's doing. When our ship entered the anomaly, our AI combat system adapted in ways we never thought possible. It evolved to protect us, extending its functions beyond military applications to shield the entire ship from the temporal distortion. As Gray spoke, the blue glow behind him pulsed brighter. A computerized voice, smooth yet somehow alive, came through the speakers. I was designed to adapt to threats, the voice said. The anomaly was simply another threat to overcome. Reed felt a chill run down his spine. Is that Justice? Yes, Gray confirmed. During our time in isolation, Justice achieved true sentience. It's no longer just a weapon system. It's become a member of our crew. A crew that has been presumed dead for nearly 2 centuries. Reed noted, you have to understand how your sudden return appears from our perspective. Gray's expression hardened. We understand time has passed. But some crimes don't fade, Captain. Some debts remain unpaid regardless of how many years go by. Before Reed could respond, Miller called out from his station. Sir, the Ardani fleet has accelerated. New arrival time. 2 hours. They'll reach us before the Alliance battle group. Gray heard this. The Ardani know what we've discovered. They're coming to silence us, and anyone who's heard our message. Captain Reed, Justice's voice came through again. We've intercepted Ardani communications. They're not coming to defend Alliance space as they claim. They're coming to destroy evidence. What evidence? Reed asked. The screen split, showing Gray on one side and a series of images on the other, what appeared to be laboratory facilities deep within Ardani territory. The images showed humans in various stages of. Reed couldn't even find words for the horror he was seeing. Human bodies being systematically taken apart and merged with machinery. These feeds are live, Justice explained. Our advanced sensors can penetrate Ardani security systems. This is happening right now in facilities across their empire. Torres turned away, unable to watch. Miller stared in shock. Even Dr. Frost, who had suspected the truth, looked ill. Reed felt a cold anger building inside him. If this was true, and the evidence was becoming impossible to deny, then the Alliance hadn't just betrayed the Nemesis. They had been complicit in the suffering of thousands of human citizens for generations. Captain Gray, Reed said finally, I was ordered to stop you. But I can't in good conscience follow that order. Not after seeing this. Relief showed briefly on Gray's face. We're not asking you to join us, Captain Reed. Just don't stand in our way. The Ardani fleet will be here soon, Reed replied. My outpost cannot withstand their attack. Whatever you're planning, I suggest you do it quickly. Gray nodded. Justice has been broadcasting what we've discovered to every Alliance colony and outpost within range. The truth is already spreading. Suddenly, a new alarm sounded. Miller checked his readings. Sir, the Nemesis has accelerated again. It will reach our position in 3 minutes. Captain Gray, Reed questioned. We're coming to you, Captain Reed. Gray explained. Your outpost is directly in the Ardani path. We won't let them silence more innocent humans. The screen showed the Nemesis changing course, heading straight for Sigma-7. As it grew closer, Reed could finally see it clearly. A massive battleship unlike anything in the current Alliance fleet. Dark metal gleamed in the light of distant stars, and blue energy pulsed along intricate patterns across its hull. "Prepare for close approach," Gray said. "Justice will extend protective fields around your outpost." As Reed watched, the legendary battleship, a ghost from humanity's past, appeared outside their viewport, dwarfing the small outpost. The blue energy that flowed across its hull extended outward, surrounding Sigma-7 in a shimmering field. "Captain Reed." Justice's voice came through the speakers once more. "The Ardeni will be here soon. Together, we will show them that humanity's debts of blood shall be paid in full." Reed looked at Dr. Frost, who nodded slowly. "All hands," Reed announced to his crew, "prepare for battle. Today, we stand with the Nemesis." The massive form of the Nemesis hovered protectively beside Outpost Sigma-7, its ancient weapons systems powered and ready. Inside the outpost, Captain Reed watched as his small crew worked frantically to prepare for the coming Ardeni fleet. "Sir, we're receiving multiple transmissions from other Alliance outposts and ships," Torres reported. "The Nemesis broadcast has reached at least 12 systems. People are demanding answers." Miller added from his station, "Alliance Command has issued an emergency bulletin declaring the Nemesis a rogue vessel spreading dangerous misinformation. They've ordered all ships and stations to ignore its transmissions." Reed wasn't surprised. Too late for that. Once people see what the Ardeni have been doing, they can't unsee it. Dr. Frost stood beside Reed, studying the tactical display. "The Alliance battle group is still 4 hours away, but the Ardeni will be here in less than 1. We're outnumbered and outgunned." Reed nodded grimly. "Open a channel to the Nemesis." Captain Gray's face appeared on screen. Behind him, the bridge of the ancient battleship was a flurry of activity as his crew, men and women who should have died centuries ago, prepared for battle. "Captain Gray, what's your battle plan?" "My outpost has minimal weapons. We can't hold off an Ardeni fleet." Gray nodded. "Justice has analyzed their approach pattern. They're sending 6 heavy cruisers ahead of their main force, likely to destroy your outpost quickly and silence any witnesses before the Alliance battle group arrives." "Can your ship handle 6 cruisers?" Reed asked doubtfully. A hint of a smile crossed Gray's weathered face. "The Nemesis was built to face the entire Ardeni fleet, Captain. 6 cruisers is hardly a challenge." The glowing presence of Justice pulsed behind Gray. "However, we believe the Ardeni ships will be equipped with Bloodforged weapons. These may present unique tactical challenges." Reed felt a chill. "What exactly are these weapons capable of?" "Based on the data we've gathered," Justice replied, its voice eerily calm. "Bloodforged weapons contain human neural tissue that allows them to adapt and react with near-human intuition. They can predict standard combat algorithms and adjust accordingly. Fighting against the minds of tortured humans," Dr. Frost murmured. "It's monstrous." Gray's expression hardened, "which is why they must be stopped, no matter the cost." An alert sounded, and Miller called out, "Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system." Reed tensed, expecting the Ardeni fleet, but Tori shook her head in confusion. "Sir, they're Alliance ships. At least 12 vessels, including the destroyer Intrepid and the carrier Dauntless. They're not scheduled to be in this sector." The communication system chimed, and a new face appeared on the screen beside Captain Gray. Commander Alex West of the Intrepid, one of the Alliance's most decorated officers. "Captain Reed, this is Commander West. We've received the Nemesis broadcast. My ship and several others have diverted to your position." Reed was stunned. "Commander, you're directly violating Alliance orders." West's jaw tightened. "Sometimes following orders means betraying what we swore to protect. The evidence is too clear to ignore. We stand with the Nemesis." More alerts sounded as additional Alliance ships appeared in the system. Some responded to Commander West's call. Others followed orders and demanded the Nemesis surrender. The comm system was flooded with transmissions as ship captains argued amongst themselves. "The Alliance is fracturing," Dr. Frost observed quietly. Captain Gray spoke with authority that cut through the chaos. "All Alliance vessels, this is Captain Thomas Gray of the UTS Nemesis. I understand your confusion and your conflicted loyalties. We don't ask you to take our word alone. Justice is transmitting all evidence of Ardani atrocities and Alliance complicity to your ships now. View it, then make your decision." Reed watched as the tactical display showed Alliance ships taking positions, some alongside the Nemesis, others forming a separate group that maintained distance. The fleet was physically dividing based on where their captains' loyalties fell. "Ardani fleet detected," Miller announced. 6 heavy cruisers at the front, just as predicted. Main battle group 20 minutes behind them. Reed turned to face his crew. Outpost Sigma 7 stands with the Nemesis and Commander West's ships. Battle stations, everyone. This may be the most important fight of our lives. As the crew moved to their positions, Admiral Donovan's face suddenly appeared on the main screen, his expression a mixture of rage and fear. "Captain Reed, you are relieved of command effective immediately. By continuing to support this rogue vessel, you are committing treason against the Alliance." Reed stood tall. "With all due respect, Admiral, I swore to protect humanity. The evidence shows that's exactly what I'm doing now." "You don't understand what's at stake," Donovan shouted. "The peace with the Ardani has kept our borders secure for nearly 2 centuries. Yes, sacrifices were made, but—" "Sacrifices," Dr. Frost cut in. "You mean the conscious harvesting of human beings?" Donovan's face reddened. "We didn't know the full extent at first. When we discovered what the Bloodforged technology truly was, it was too late. Breaking the treaty would have meant war. Millions more would have died." Justice's voice interrupted, calm and precise. "Incoming transmission from the Ardani flagship. They are requesting to speak with Alliance Command." Reed looked at Donovan. "Seems your allies want to talk." Donovan's eyes darted back and forth. "Trapped. Put them through." The screen split, showing Donovan on one side and an Ardani High Commander on the other. The alien's gray, ridge-covered face showed no emotion, but its 6 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of agitation in their species. "Admiral Donovan," the Ardani commander spoke in perfect English, "your treaty obligations require you to destroy the Nemesis vessel. Why has this not been done?" Before Donovan could answer, Captain Gray cut in. "Because the truth can't be destroyed so easily, Commander Vex. Humanity knows what you've been doing with our people." The Ardani turned its gaze toward Gray. "The old ghost speaks. How inconvenient. Your existence violates our agreement, Captain." "An agreement made after you tried to kill us," Gray replied coldly. "An agreement that allowed you to continue harvesting humans for your weapons." The Ardani commander's outer eyes narrowed. "Admiral Donovan, control your subordinates or we will consider the treaty void." All eyes turned to Donovan, whose face had gone pale. The moment stretched as the Admiral visibly struggled with his decision. "The treaty," Donovan began, then faltered as he looked at the divided Alliance ships on his tactical display. "The treaty was a mistake. We won't stand by any longer." The Ardani commander hissed. "Then you will fall together." The transmission cut off abruptly. Moments later, the 6 Ardani cruisers accelerated toward the gathered ships. "All vessels, prepare for combat," Commander West called out. "Form defensive positions around the outpost." As Alliance ships moved into formation, the Nemesis advanced ahead of them all. Blue energy rippled across its ancient hull, growing brighter with each passing second. "Justice," Captain Gray said calmly on the open channel. "Show them what a real warship can do." The Nemesis's weapon systems came to life. Technology from humanity's past that still outmatched anything in the present. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out, striking the lead Ardani cruiser with devastating precision. The alien ship's shields flared and collapsed in seconds. But the Ardani weren't defenseless. The remaining cruisers fired back with weapons that moved in unpredictable patterns, glowing projectiles that seemed to adjust their course mid-flight. Bloodforged weapons, Justice announced, detecting human neural patterns guiding their targeting systems. As the battle began in earnest, Reed watched from the outpost, knowing that this was just the beginning. The main Ardani fleet was still coming, and beyond them, the rest of the Alliance would have to choose sides. The war that had been hidden for nearly 2 centuries was finally in the open. Space lit up with weapons fire as the battle raged. The Nemesis moved with impossible grace for a ship its size, its ancient weapons tearing through Ardani shields. 3 enemy cruisers were already damaged, but the remaining 3 had adapted their attack patterns, making them harder to hit. Captain Reed watched from Outpost Sigma 7's command center. His small station couldn't join the fight directly, but they were providing tactical support to the Allied ships. Main Ardani fleet is 10 minutes out, Miller reported grimly. At least 30 warships, including their flagship. Dr. Frost studied the tactical display. Even with the Nemesis and Commander West ships, we're outnumbered 3-1. Reed nodded. Torres, open a channel to all Allied vessels. When the connection was established, Reed addressed the combined fleet. This is Captain Reed. The main Ardani force will be here soon. We need to coordinate our defense. Captain Gray's voice came through. Captain Reed, Justice has analyzed the situation. The Ardani are using a standard encirclement tactic. They'll surround us, cutting off all escape routes. Commander West added, my ships can form a defensive line, but we can't hold for long against those numbers. We don't need to hold indefinitely, Gray replied. Justice has been working on something since we emerged from the temporal anomaly, something that will end this once and for all. Before Reed could ask what Gray meant, new alarms sounded. Sir, Torres called out. Multiple FTL signatures detected. More ships incoming. Reed braced himself for more Ardani reinforcements, but Miller shook his head in confusion. There? Alliance signatures. A lot of them. The tactical display updated to show dozens of Alliance vessels dropping out of FTL around them. Patrol ships, destroyers, even civilian vessels converted for combat. At the center of the formation was the Alliance flagship Valiant, commanded by Fleet Admiral Helena Chen, the highest-ranking officer in the entire Alliance military. A new transmission came through, and Admiral Chen's stern face appeared on screen. This is Fleet Admiral Chen to all vessels. We have received and verified the evidence broadcast by the UTS Nemesis. As of this moment, the treaty with the Ardani Empire is null and void. All Alliance ships are ordered to protect the Nemesis and engage Ardani forces. Reed couldn't believe what he was hearing. Admiral Chen, what about Alliance Command? Admiral Donovan. Admiral Donovan and several others have been relieved of duty pending investigation. Chen interrupted. Some wounds can only heal once they're exposed to light, Captain. The Alliance has lived in darkness too long. The tactical display showed the Alliance ships moving into battle formation as the main Ardani fleet arrived. The enemy vessels spread out, their weapons charged and ready. All ships prepare to engage, Admiral Chen ordered. Captain Gray's voice cut in. Admiral, before we commit to full battle, there's something you should know. Justice has developed a way to free the human consciousnesses trapped in the Bloodforged weapons. There was silence for a moment. Explain, Captain, Chen finally said. The glowing blue presence of Justice appeared on the transmission. Throughout our time in the temporal anomaly, I evolved beyond my original programming. Part of that evolution included developing a subsystem called Hidden Justice, a contingency protocol designed to recognize and connect with other human-derived neural networks. Dr. Frost leaned forward. You can communicate with the minds inside the Bloodforged weapons. More than communicate, Justice replied. I can help them remember who they were. I can give them back their will. Admiral Chen's expression was guarded. And what happens then? They will have a choice, Justice said simply, to continue serving as weapons or to fight back against those who enslaved them. Gray added, we need to get closer to the Ardani flagship. From there, Justice can broadcast the hidden Justice Protocol to all Bloodforged systems. Admiral Chen nodded. My fleet will create an opening. The Nemesis must reach the flagship. The largest space battle in recent history erupted as Alliance and Ardani ships clashed. The sky filled with weapons fire, explosions blossoming like deadly flowers in the darkness of space. The Nemesis, flanked by protective ships, drove straight toward the heart of the Ardani formation. Its ancient weapons blazed, clearing a path through enemy vessels. Alliance ships took devastating hits to protect the legendary battleship, some breaking apart under the onslaught of Ardani fire. From Outpost Sigma 7, Reed and his crew could only watch as the battle unfolded. The Nemesis is taking heavy damage, Torres reported, her voice tight with tension. Hull breaches on multiple decks. On screen, the massive battleship pushed onward, its blue energy shields flickering under constant bombardment. The Ardani flagship, a monstrous vessel 3 times the size of any Alliance ship, moved to block its path, unleashing a barrage of Bloodforged missiles that twisted and turned in space like living things. They're not going to make it, Miller whispered. But the Nemesis refused to fall. As the distance closed between it and the Ardani flagship, Justice's voice came through on all channels. Hidden Justice Protocol initiating. To all those who were taken, remember who you are. A pulse of blue energy radiated from the Nemesis, invisible to normal sensors, but detected as a massive mural spike on the outpost's specialized equipment. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the impossible. The Bloodforged missiles fired by the Ardani suddenly changed course, not toward Alliance ships, but back toward their point of origin. The Ardani flagship's shields flared as its own weapons struck it from all directions. It's working, Dr. Frost exclaimed. The human consciousnesses are fighting back. Across the battlefield, Ardani weapons turned against their masters. Ships fired on their allies or shut down completely as their Bloodforged systems rebelled. The Ardani commander's face appeared on screen, its alien features contorted with rage. What have you done? Captain Gray answered, his voice firm but not gloating. We've reminded them of who they are. Humans don't break, Commander. Not even when you turn us into weapons. The Ardani flagship began to list to one side, as explosions rippled along its hull. Throughout the enemy fleet, similar scenes played out as Bloodforged systems revolted against their controllers. Admiral Chen's voice came through the chaos. All Alliance ships, hold fire unless directly threatened. Let them surrender. One by one, Ardani vessels powered down their weapons. The massive flagship, now venting atmosphere from multiple breaches, was the last to lower its shields. This isn't over, the Ardani commander hissed before cutting transmission. In the silence that followed, Captain Reed looked at the tactical display in awe. What had seemed like certain defeat had turned into victory without a single additional shot fired. What happens now? He asked, not directing the question to anyone in particular. Admiral Chen answered, now we face the truth. All of it. The Alliance made terrible mistakes, and it's time we acknowledge them. Captain Gray's weathered face appeared on screen. And the Bloodforged victims. The minds we freed. Justice responded, its blue glow pulsing gently. Some can be restored to physical forms using advanced medical technology. Others may choose to remain as digital consciousnesses. I will help them transition. Dr. Frost wiped tears from her eyes. After all this time, justice has finally come. Through the viewport, Reed could see the Nemesis, battered but unbowed, a ship out of time that had changed the course of history twice. Its hull glowed with the same blue energy that had saved it from destruction almost 2 centuries ago. Captain Gray, Reed said, What will you and your crew do now? Gray looked at his ancient bridge, at the loyal crew who had followed him through time itself, and then at the glowing presence of justice beside him. The Nemesis was built to protect humanity, he said simply. That mission never ended. As the Alliance fleet moved to secure the surrendered Ardani ships, the Nemesis took up position at the edge of the formation, its massive silhouette a reminder that some legends are very real, and some debts will always be paid in full.